Yeah. Hi, everyone. Brett Puckrin here from Remax All-Stars, Puckrin Latreille real estate team, and welcome to April 1st, April Fool's Day. You wake up today and you think this is all a bad dream, but we're in some pretty unprecedented times, and we've been able to get Katherine McKenzie from Hillcrest Company and Hillcrest Mortgages here with us today.
Hi,
And
hey.
Welcome, Katherine. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate the invite.
Wonderful, wonderful. We've asked Katherine to actually shed some light on the mortgages and financial markets right at the moment. And we all know that there's some pressing questions, and both of our companies between Puckrin Latreille and Hillcrest Mortgages are fielding a number of questions to our clients and families and friends, and so we just want to bring some answers to them the best we can. We don't have all the answers, but we certainly can try. So, Katherine, let's just jump right in. Probably one of the most pressing questions is the mortgage deferral on a mortgage, and maybe just income interruption as well. Maybe if you want to just touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's been a lot of really questionable news in relation to this mortgage deferral piece. I've seen a lot of negative, but a lot of positive at the same time. And I really want to just stress over and over that it's really built in on a case-by-case basis. Like, it depends on what your financial situation is, and if you're part of this layoff, or if you're still working, what sort of outlook we have. And really how the program works is that you discuss with your bank your options. If you need to defer your mortgage, you can do so for up to 6 months. And with that being said, you have to remember that no bank is ever going to forgive your mortgage payments. That's the truth of the matter. You do have to remember that you still have to pay. And the deferral, which I want to debunk, a myth out there, is that the deferral will actually not affect your credit bureau. There's a lot of discussion in that, and social media posts on that, and I want to clarify, it will not. The only way that it would really affect you long term is that what they're doing is, if they're allowing you to defer your payments for up to 6 months, they want you to repay those payments back in a slower period of time during the term that's remaining in your mortgage. So, for example, if you have a $1,200 a month, so $72 remaining in your mortgage payments, that means after the 6 months, your mortgage payment is going to go up by $300 a month. And there has been discussions with banks and with some of my clients that they've had to amortize that a little longer, over 5 years, so that maybe if a 5-year prepayment history would look like an additional $120 a month or $60 biweekly, however you want to do it. But you do have to pay this money back, and you will be charged interest. And that's just how the banks make the money too, right? So you have to remember, it will provide you with short-term income freedom, I guess, in some way. But in the long run, you do have to be prepared to pay that back.
Okay.
So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Every bank is different based on your situation. It depends on if one person is still working or not. You might not get the full 6 months, you might get 4 months. But it's on a case by case, on a needs basis, really.
Okay, all right. Maybe just touch on income interruption.
Yeah, so for income interruption, this is a biggie, especially for realtors, is that if you're in the middle of real estate transactions. So say, for example, you're purchasing a home, you already have an approval from your lender, and now you're at the point where you're like, oh my God, I just got laid off on EI, I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. How is this going to affect me long term? Well, there is a solution for you. The CMHC has allowed lenders to go ahead and forgive that portion. So if you have to, they'll honor all of the applications and all of the approvals that they've done so far, even if you've been laid off. The other aspect is the banks will also work with you once you've moved into the property, to look at mortgage deferral if you really need it at that point as well. But this is only based on applications that are already in the approvals point, and also based on if you're, looking to sell your home and it's conditional on the sale of your property, then you will have the opportunity to find financing in the interim, even if you've been laid off. So that is something that the lenders are being a little bit forgiving on, because I know it's a really high stress time, and we need to make sure that those houses get sold, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to lose out on the sale or purchase of a home going forward. So
Okay, well, thanks.
that's the biggest thing.
That's good information.
Yeah.
I know you always you're very mindful of people's budgets and trying to make sure that they're looked after. Maybe could you touch on something, as we prepare for self-isolation and work stoppage continues, maybe some things on the budget front that, a family budget, you have any ideas that you could share with us?
Yeah, I would love to. Actually, what we're advising clients right now is we're getting a big influx of calls from people that are, just have lots of questions about what they can do on how to try and save some money and try and make sure that long term they can, if this ends up being longer than the 4 months that we're predicting, how we can go from there. And one of the things I'm advising to do is maybe look at the option of, securing a home equity line of credit. I'd rather see people using, a line of credit at 2.49% rather than, putting debt onto credit cards to try and get by right now. We're encouraging people to look at interest deferrals on their credit cards. Call your credit card companies and negotiate with them on almost like a little bit of a rate sale right now. Just ask them for some interest relief. And that is something that I just read in the news this morning, that the feds are really trying to come down on credit card companies as well. But you have to remember, they've been really lenient with a lot of my clients. If you do have credit card debt that you do need to pay some things down, they have been lenient and cutting interest rates for those and payments. So that's one of the big things that I've found is really successful. I like to look at phone plans. Is it necessary for you to have a cable bill right now if you can, access things like Netflix and
Right.
just get your kids to survive off that stuff right now? Cable bills, Rogers and Bell have been really good about working with some of my clients and cutting down some of their monthly bills. Some people pay over $500 a month for that.
Right.
And they just want to try and cut back on their day-to-day living expenses, as well as meal planning. I know it sounds really sort of strange coming from a financial broker, but I've noticed that we've had so much more time to really sit down and look at all of our monthly budgets and look at what we're spending our money on, and take the time to meal plan and get your kids involved and get them to make grocery lists as part of like a math lesson and give them budgets. And it really, I know I've done it myself. I didn't realize how much I spent on food until I really cracked down on,
yeah.
It's been amazing being able to make everything from scratch right now, which is kind of fun, and it's cut down my grocery bills. If we kind of go back into that sort of 50s area, right? Have a look at all your expenses, and is it something you really, really need? I have a budget that I can, help. I could spread to other people and give to you if you want to put it in the notes after this video. And it's just like a really good tool to just kind of show you exactly where you're spending your money.
I think anything we can share for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any questions too, like get involved with look at your investments right now. Look at your, the financial markets, the state of it. It's up and down like crazy, but look at long-term expenses. Don't just look at short-term expenses right now. It's a good time you have the time, let's do it.
Great idea, for sure.
I think that's the biggest one.
Excellent. Next thing I'd like to talk about is, now this changes from day to day, hourly to hourly, but it's government assistance.
Yeah.
I know the federal government has pretty much tried to touch every Canadian in the country with some type of benefit or a savings. Something, and different levels of government as well for deferrals and things like that. So maybe just touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggies right now, and some of the questions that we're flagging are, should I be applying for this new Canada's emergency response benefit, or should I be applying for EI if I have access to it? Well, I'd like to give you a bit of a scenario in this case. If you have the privilege of paying into EI and it applies to you, I say go for it. Apply for EI if you've been laid off. If you make, for example, more than $53,000 a year, you qualify for the maximum benefit, which is $573 a week, which is more than what you would get for the like the CERB, which is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. Those of you, and I'm telling business owners too, is if you are in the position where you can apply for both and you qualify for both, have a look at your income level. If you do max out on the EI, that's where I ask everybody to start. If you apply for both and you only make, for example, $30,000 a year, then your monthly benefit would only be $370 a week. So it's beneficial for you to apply for the CERB for the first 4 months and get that benefit at $500 a week, and then apply for an EI benefit after the fact so that you can take advantage of it for a little bit of a longer period.
Right.
For those people who are self-employed, who don't pay into EI, well, our only choice is to really apply for the CERB.
Right.
And right now, the portal is stated to be open as of Monday. We're expecting 4 million applicants on Monday, and it's going to be busy. So for those of you who can wait a couple days, that's what we're suggesting. But the CERB really has a 10-day waiting period. It's going to pay out retroactively to March 16th. So you will get a bit of back pay there for those who have been waiting. Unfortunately, those people who are renting right now don't get that, that benefit right away, but it's still in play. Remember that it is a taxable benefit. So if you are a freelancer or something and you are making additional income in the interim, you will be deducted. At that time, you will be dinged a little bit. So they might give you a bit of a clawback. So remember that. And then for the EI benefits, if you are in the process of applying, there is a backlog of about 1 million applicants right now on the EI side. So there is a 7-day waiting period. You should get it fairly quickly. And I know people that have already gotten it. So it is pretty seamless. We just have to be patient. So I think any questions around qualifying for that, we have lots of resources on our social media pages that people can sort of have a look at and see where they would qualify and how they qualify. But I think in the meantime, just keep an eye on the rollout dates from the government online, the news. I know that they said originally it was April 6th, the portal was going to open for the CERB, but again, it was supposed to be this week originally. So I don't know how far back it keeps getting pushed. And so for those benefits, they're really, it's pretty much that if you don't pay into EI, you don't qualify, so your only option is the CERB. If there is questions, obviously direct them our way and we'd be happy to help out. You don't have to be a client of ours to get information. We're always open.
We appreciate it.
yeah. And then the other option too is, this discussion of deferral of utilities where, news is coming out every day. We're hearing things, but we really haven't gotten any concrete answers yet. So I think it'll be a little bit of a wait before we do hear something. So.
I know municipalities, quite a few of them have actually deferred the property taxes for May and June or April, May.
Yes, a 2-month deferral based on property taxes. Now I know that that's the case here in Scugog, but I don't know if it's across Durham region or wherever you live. I think it would be beneficial for people to call. And that's one thing I wanted to point out is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to call your creditors and ask for some help, and don't be afraid to ask the questions, because people are there doing it and they're getting relief wherever they can. And so we don't want to see people in a pickle, so we want to try and help out as much as we can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you can share that you want to share with us to maybe get through these times? I know one thing we've been telling, we just be nice to each other. It's the trying time.
honestly, I think being at home lately, it's made us realize that, how important family time is. It's kind of like this forced way of life right now, and it's been really beneficial. And I think it's been as much information that we can get and correct information that we can get is the most important thing right now, making sure that our clients are taken care of. And, as I've mentioned before, I think, it's so important to just be, a great resource for anybody right now, even if it's not even financial, even if it's just they need some help in sort of, creating a budget or just knowing the correct information. I think I'm just repeating myself now, but at the end of the day, I think it just all means like take this time to really sort of learn what your budgets are, how you want to, foresee the next 4 months will look like. And again, if you haven't been laid off or you haven't, you are an essential service worker. Obviously, we appreciate all your hard work and everything that you're doing. And if there's any support that you need, just to reach out. That's all we want. We want to get by.
Well, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much, Katherine.
No
Folks,
problem.
Katherine McKenzie, Hillcrest Mortgages, Hillcrest and Company.
Thank you.
So we're going to sign off here. Brett Puckrin, Remax All-Stars, Puckrin Latreille Real Estate Team. Stay well, folks. Keep your social distancing. Have a great day.
Yes. Right, you too.
Thanks.
Bye.